Hello, friends. Welcome to another segment of Embedded Insiders podcast. I am very excited to be here with Dennis. Is it Nichols, Dennis? I forgot to ask you how to pronounce your last name.
I think that's okay. Yeah, in Germany it's a little bit Nikles, but
Nicholas.
if you call me Nikles, it's absolutely good.
Well, we've discontinued the nickel here in the States, so you can at
Yeah.
least be unique along those lines now. Why don't you introduce yourself for the folks listening?
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here, Ken, and thanks for having me. My name is Dennis Nikles. I'm new within Vodafone for now 4.5 months. I am heading our IoT business in the Americas as managing director. And yeah, I have a strong IT background, 47 years old. Yeah, quite old in the meanwhile, and had a lot of experience in IoT. I come into IoT in 2016 in the meanwhile, and before I joined Vodafone, I led 4.5 years the IoT business of Deutsche Telekom.
Oh yeah. I also came from an IoT background before joining embedded computing.
Okay.
We'll have to talk when we're not recording about all the people that we know in common and gossip.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we know the same people.
it's a
IoT
small world.
is a small business area.
Absolutely. Although it seems like now it's merging pretty effectively with embedded computing and lots of AI, especially at the edge, where IoT's always been strong. So let's talk a little bit about Vodafone and where you folks are going to be sort of looking at interesting things. We just finished up at time of recording
Yeah.
with CES. And of course, this conversation with you and I has been pending since Embedded World North America last November. So we've been sort of a lot's been going on. So why don't you tell me a little bit about some of the trends that you're seeing in IoT and how that's intersecting with embedded and AI.
Yeah. Maybe I start a little bit with Vodafone because
Hmm,
we are the global market leader in IoT. You see that
sure.
no here with 220 million connections we have in the meanwhile on our platform, and we
Hmm.
provide global connectivity for our customers just on a single platform. Yeah, therefore
Yeah.
no local integration necessary. And with that, we are reducing complexity for our customers. That's our main target. And knowing that connectivity is in a lot of products today a most important thing. Yeah, think about a car without connectivity today and compare it to 10 years ago, right?
Right.
It's a huge difference. Today, connectivity is a business critical things for car manufacturers. Yeah, and we feel that as well, that the demands and as well quality demands are rising in that area. Yeah, but not only with that, yeah, if I see on the CES trends, yeah, every second booth was around robotics, yeah, human
Oh yeah.
robotics, production robotics, and drones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we see that technical development, all that stuff will need connectivity, yeah,
Yeah.
to get data and to gain data, yeah, and that's very interesting and leaves me with a good feeling to be with Vodafone in that area and have a really compelling offer to our customers.
Of course. I think that cameras are still really important, really strong in automotive for sure. They're using a lot of different camera technologies and vision technologies, and all of that stuff has to be connected to, and the data rates there are probably bigger than anywhere else, is probably fair to say. They're sending a
Absolutely.
lot of data. Um, Also, one thing I noticed at CES is smart glasses seem to be making a big, I don't know if comeback is the right word. Don't call it a comeback, but it's they're certainly growing in interest. The form factors are getting smaller and more interesting, and I even saw some nice metal framed ones, which I think that was the
Mm.
first time I'd seen metal framed smart glasses. It's plastic molded around whatever the battery is. Um, and of course, all those need to be connected too, although I think usually that's short range just to a cell phone or something. But yeah, I think you're right. The number of connections is just going to keep going up in a bunch of different sectors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, as an example, you talked about as of today, we see a trend that data consumption is growing year over year nearly by 50%, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And that shows how important connectivity is. And as well, connectivity is as well needed to feed AI applications, right? Coming back to the to automotive, because automotive is 50% of IoT as of
sure.
today, right? The by far the biggest biggest industry and the most important industry for us. You see that we train with all the data we transferred into the data centers of our customers, we train AI applications, which will be, and then the self-learning cars, right? Look at Tesla or something like this,
Yeah,
how they with autonomous driving capabilities and so on. AI is wherever you need it, everywhere.
yeah. And with so much of the AI sort of processing and even um, models being stored at the edge, the data rates that most of that is being done to decrease latency
Mm.
and stop, the so much data from needing to be sent to the cloud. But I think that that's not going to mean that there's less data sent to the cloud. It's just going to make it possible to do AI in those places. And I think that's pretty
Yeah.
fair to say, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's I think a totally a fair statement. As we are talking about embedded and so on, yeah, therefore it's going to be more and more important that the integration of hardware and connectivity is getting more and more important for our customers, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because with the growing connections, yeah, you need to take care that your networks are able to cover the peaks, right? And to
right.
cover all the devices in that network. And therefore, we are as well certifying each new device in the network to be ensure that this device is working in the best possible way for our customers in our networks. Yeah, therefore, bringing in millions of devices without knowing how the devices will react or something like this, it's simply not possible.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've been hearing about like sensor fusion for a long time, well, at least a few years now, and I talked to some folks about it at CES this past year and this last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, and all last year a bunch about sensor fusion, and now I'm starting to see a sort of uh, uh, the creation of a horizontal layer that seems to me to be the combination of IoT and embedded and AI sort of all becoming unified into one
Mhm.
horizontal layer. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because it's sort of my pet like observation that I'm seeing them working in interconnectedly more often than being treated as separate. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts are as to whether or not you've been seeing that or you're still seeing these sort of discrete industries.
Absolutely not. Look, this single pane of glass you mentioned, right, is
Yeah.
for many customers they need it, yeah, because they have very often historical deployments, yeah, out of the last maybe
Sure,
5 to 10 years. Then they have current deployments, yeah, most recently deployed, and of course they need to be safe for the future. Yeah, therefore the single pane of glass functionality is as well an important element of reducing complexity for our customers. Yeah, and look about what we announced last year. I think it was in summer. Our
yep.
partnership with Symmetric is exactly going in this direction, because Symmetric is providing this horizontal layer and orchestrating different technologies underneath. Yeah,
Hmm.
therefore, I strongly believe this capability will be really important in the future.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you raised an interesting sort of issue there, which is the idea of legacy hardware and software. And I mean, software is reasonably easy to update, but hardware is much more difficult, especially in
Mm.
industrial settings where a lot of the folks listening to this will be working. But for automotive, for sure, legacy hardware is challenging, and um, and I know you said that you came from Deutsche Telekom, so I'm sure you remember the migrations from 2 to 3G and from 3G to 4G and then 4G to 5G, and those migrations keep getting shorter and shorter. Those life cycles seem to be getting shorter and shorter, and it seemed like we hardly had a chance to turn around in the room before people started talking about 6G or more, and Wi-Fi has had a similar
Mm.
expansion, beyond cellular. I mean, not even to talk about Zigbee and Bluetooth and LoRaWAN and all the other sort of not more specific connectivity options. I'm sure the engineers listening to this are concerned, about migrations, about legacy, about things like that. Can you tell us a little bit about what you think folks should expect in terms of connectivity legacy, in terms of you know these increasing data rates and things? Are people who are currently still on 5G going to
Mm.
need to be migrating in order to keep up? Are they going to be pushed into that position?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, because I think, and that's my personal thinking, is we as telcos, right, and as well the engineers behind, yeah, we need to take care that we are not completely decoupled from our customers. What I
Yeah.
meant with that is the following. As of today, our customers are to 90% are still using 4G, yeah, because this is sufficient for their use cases. Yeah, they
Sure.
are now starting to go into 5G SA and all that things. Yeah, in some parts of the world, 5G is already out. Yeah, we are thinking about 6G and so on. Yeah, and therefore we sometimes we need to take care that we do not forget our customers. Yeah,
Hmm.
and because all that migration you mentioned, right, is very often that the devices itself and the modems in it, right, cannot be simply switched from 4G to 5G and to 6G. Yeah, therefore you need a completely new device, complete in some areas like health, completely new developed and new certified, which is a
Yeah.
huge effort for our customers. And
Yeah.
therefore, our customers need a little bit of safety for a certain period, right? That this technology they are investing in is the right technology, and not
Right.
2 years after they need to completely to start from scratch. Yeah,
Yeah.
and therefore we try to give our customers at least security for the next 10 years. It's in this time where the technical developments are really fast. It's a long time, but
Yeah.
we believe our customers need this time period, yeah, because they need to calculate their business cases, right? They need to calculate their return of investments and so on.
Yeah.
Therefore, I believe this kind of security and predictability is important for customers.
I agree, especially in those heavily regulated, for good reason, industries like healthcare, automotive,
Absolutely.
energy, you know,
Yeah.
those kinds of things, you know, they're to them 10 years is nothing, you know, to
Yeah.
them that's
Yeah.
the blink of an eye on a life cycle, or at least in the olden times, and by that I mean what, 20 years ago. You know,
Yeah.
they would have been buying equipment that they expected to last 50 years, you know,
Mm.
and now they're being told 10 years is an expected life cycle. You'll probably get 20 is
Mm.
generally what I hear people being told, is that, you know, you're gonna be in an upgrade situation by the end of 10 years, and you can
Yeah.
probably stretch it another 10 beyond that before you're obsolete.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that that's what I've been hearing, especially in those regulated things where, as you say, they've got a whole certification process, they've got a whole regulatory process. No matter where you are, there's some kind of regulatory controls. If you're an international organization, even more complex,
Yeah.
because those go, you know, at least you know, EU is pretty unified, but you know, you've got the US, you've got all the Asian countries have similar but slightly different regulatory concerns. You know, that there's
I
uh
can tell you in Germany, health is a
yeah,
nightmare, right?
sure.
You need 3 to 5 years of recertification if you only change the modem into a medical device. Yeah, not a
Wow.
completely new device. If you just change the modem, yeah, it's ridiculous to be honest. It's a little bit better in the US, yeah, but it's still a high effort. Yeah, but as
Right.
well in some markets in Europe, it's a huge, unbelievable effort.
And that's mostly for privacy and security testing, right?
Mhm.
On those things, generally what they're looking
Yeah,
for. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's why it's easier in the US, but we don't need to talk about that. I'll make the salty comments. You don't need to.
Yeah. Good.
Um, yeah, I'm calling you out, all you US developers out there. Make sure you're paying close attention. It's right in the front of my mind, and I'm not going to name who it was, but again, just to talk about CES for a second, one of the you saw a bunch of the exoskeleton prototypes and things around on the floor. Very interesting, cool stuff for mobility aids and potentially worker safety and worker aids and things. But I was talking to one of the booths, one of the manufacturers, and he's telling me all the tech specs and all the, you know, oh,
Mm.
it can give you 5x, you know, added strength and blah, 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 blah. And I said, oh, okay, cool. Tell me a little bit about security. And the guy's face just went white as a sheet, hadn't considered it at all. No, it was totally open, no security at all. And I was like, hey, my man, that's attached to a whole person's body. You should probably think about it.
That's absolutely true.
We
Yeah,
don't need people suddenly starting to walk across town when they didn't intend to.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
um,
security is a big topic. Yeah, and I think in terms of security, you need security on each different layer
yeah,
of the technology, right? In the
from
network
silicon all the way
layer,
up.
yes, in the network layer on the device layer, right? Then on the application layer, and then on the user interface
Yeah,
layer. Yeah, and therefore that's a huge thing on a network layer. We are continuously improving security into our network. Yeah,
yeah,
we are providing in the meanwhile basic security functionalities like avoiding man in the middle attacks and so
yeah.
on. We are bringing that on the network in place. Yeah, we have an own cyber security center analyzing what's going on, right, and trying using AI technologies to identify patterns and so on.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then where we support our customers as well is then the data transfer, yeah, from our platform into the data centers or in public clouds. Yeah, the
Yep.
encryption of those data and so on is essential, yeah, for our customers, yeah, because very often it's their IP and customer data are included, yeah, and you absolutely need to take care of that you are as well following the regulations and legal requirements in so many countries.
Yeah. It's obviously we could go down a whole long rabbit hole on on the subject of security. There's so much to be said from functional security all the way up, and of course it's all terribly important and never and always becoming more and more important. We haven't sort of reached that thing we've been getting warned about for the last couple of years with quantum computing making security procedures that we've been using forever obsolete. And I know lots of very smart folks are already working ahead of that problem and trying
Hmm.
to trying to work on that now. But it's still true that the most common security issues are not bad actors. They're mostly accidents or data leaks or things
Human
like that.
errors. Human
Yeah, human
errors.
errors.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the what's the old joke that I love is that the most common computer error is located in the part that's directly between the keyboard and the chair. Um,
Yeah.
and that's still true. I think
Yeah.
it's fair to say, which is why all those layers of security you were talking about are important because they're going to prevent the error from getting through if all goes well. The bad actor problem is just a forever problem. There's always going to be somebody, and sometimes they're going to get through, and that's why security is often about response and mitigating that risk rather than preventing every occurrence.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
um yeah.
That's true, and technology can help, right,
Sure.
to reduce human errors because we are all humans, right? And technology can help really to train awareness, right? What I am doing here, and maybe asking two times, yeah, what are you really sure that you want to do that? Yeah, it's starting very often so simply. Yeah, you
Sure.
don't need the high sophisticated technology. Yeah, sometimes easy things are increasing security a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still about the nuts and bolts, the to use American football term, the blocking and tackling is really just
Yeah.
doing those fundamental things that help keep you safe. Although I don't envy the people whose main job it is to keep track of all those
Yeah.
fundamentals. As we get near the end of our time, Dennis, I'd love to sort of give you the floor a little bit because it's a new year. We're looking at a deeply in flux technology industry. There's so much going on, so much of development and change and incremental improvement in a lot of directions. What are you looking forward to this year? What are some of the technological things that you think are going to be cool and exciting that you can't wait to either see customers using or get your hands on personally?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Then we need to differentiate between myself and our customers because from a customer perspective, I think 5G SA is a
Uh-huh.
is a huge thing in some industries. Yeah.
Yeah.
As well, identifying the advantages and benefits for our customers of this new technology like slicing. 5G RedCap and all that
Yeah.
things. Yeah, therefore, a lot of our customers are currently thinking about it and testing it. Yeah, we have this on our platform already available. Then still, I think the satellite integration, non-terrestrial networks, yeah,
Yeah.
is a very important thing. Look what the newest innovation in Starlink as an example, right? Using
Yep.
NVIDIA technology, yeah, to I think to get to 300% more performance than the old ones. Yeah, therefore,
Yeah.
I believe satellite connectivity and the integration with terrestrial networks will be an important topic in this year.
Sure.
And those things I can imagine, or we have at least some evidence for that because customers are asking us continuously for testing it and can we be an early adapter and so on.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think this robotics topic is a very interesting thing. Yeah, I'm not sure if you see that in the same way. There is quite a big difference between what I see live at CES about this robots and what they can do, and what I read what is it maybe in China already working, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have the feeling in China there are robots working in each household or in each
Right.
production area. And then you come to CES and see very simple use cases,
Right. Right.
and so on. Yeah, therefore, not sure. And I'm really interested to see, is there a big difference, right? Or
Yeah.
how fast this development can really be? Because a little bit help here in my household, I can
Yeah.
could be a good idea.
I would have no argument with just, an extra pair of hands, as it were,
Yeah,
robotic, be
yeah,
they. Although, I live in the US, it's really hard to tell, especially when you're talking about Chinese news and announcements, to balance, because we get pretty heavily filtered as to what we're going to see and what we're going to cover. And so it's hard to tell, but I see the same kinds of reports. So I don't know how widespread it is. Also, China's a big place, so maybe we're
yeah,
seeing what's going on in Shenzhen or Beijing or wherever, and most of the country is not doing that.
yeah,
I think that's probably the most likely thing. But yeah, robotics is really cool for me. You know what else? Honestly, I don't wear glasses as an everyday thing, but man, a set of smart glasses that really does offer a lot of functionality without. I like a heads up display, but like I
mm,
need it to also be like, hey, you're about to walk into a wall because as you start, which I mentioned that because I saw that at CES, this thing. It was a
yeah,
very basic prototype, but it had the like visible in the glass like informational display and mapping and stuff. But then at one point I was messing around with it, and the warning came up that said, "Stop! You're about to walk into an obstacle." And I looked through the glass instead of at the HUD in the near field, and I was walking straight at a wall,
yeah,
which
yeah.
that's a
This
problem they have to overcome.
this new Ray-Ban
Yeah,
classes, right? That are
yeah,
really cool. Yeah, it looks like a normal glasses here. Yeah, but the technology is really impressive.
yeah, yeah. Really, very, very cool. And I sort of am a simplistic. I used to be like a carry a bunch of stuff every day carry kind of guy. Now I'm like I want to carry as few things as possible at all times. So
Yeah.
like, if I was all the way down to like a set of glasses and an earbud, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
Which,
Do you know the movie Surrogates with Bruce
yes,
Willis? It's one of my
yes,
favorite movies. Yeah.
it's a good movie.
Even if I hope that technology will be not on this level that we humans are only sitting in our rooms, right?
No, yeah.
And steering that. But somehow we are on that track, right? With the robotics topic and all that
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, I like we've got some good snow on the ground right here right now, and so I like going outside and doing
Yes.
some hiking. I might if I get outside before I lose the sunlight today, I might go out snow hiking for a little while.
Yeah.
So you won't catch me staying in my room all the time, but I tell you what, if I didn't have to spend my time outside going to the grocery store and I could send somebody else to do it, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I've always said you'll be able to tell if I ever get rich because
Yeah.
although I love cooking and I really enjoy driving, I want them both to be hobbies. I don't want to have to do them all the time. So that's the technological innovation I want for the future is give me a
Absolutely.
chef, give me a driver, give me all that stuff so that I can only do it when I want, when it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll see me
I
cruising
agree.
around in my little MGB or my Miata just for entertainment. Dennis, thank you so much for taking the time to chat today. I really, really
You are
appreciate it.
welcome. Yeah,
Folks,
you're welcome, and thanks for having me. It was an absolutely pleasure, and I will come and visit you in Connecticut.
Absolutely. I'll show you around. I'll show you around New Haven.
Yeah,
We've got some nice museums and some great stuff to see.
yeah.
Folks out there listening, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you. Don't forget to do all the subscribey things and stick around